How you doing, YouTube? Matt Massive Beer Reviews back with live review. I'm having an outdoor party at my on my farm here today, and I figured I'd do a couple live reviews. You'll probably get a couple of these kind of peppered in throughout the evening. And the first one we're going to dive into, because first beers of the night, we get a little bit kind of itty bitty, if you will, and this is Bird's Fly South. Come on, Sunshine. It's a blended farmhouse ale. This is my first offering from these guys. I've heard of them before. I've had fucking George. How you doing? How you doing? Troll reviews, motherfucker. But yeah, I've never had anything from these guys. It's a 5.3% alcohol by volume, a blend of two open ferment wild. Our Petite Galaxy and Citra Hop Pale Ale. So I'm talking about a little bit of farmhouse, a little bit of kind of open firm kind of hoppy jam. So we'll see what's what. It's actually got a pretty killer label on it. It's got like kind of a hand-drawn ghetto. Reminds me very much of kind of like a Belgian brewery, kind of when they do labels. And you got your classic green bottle, hazy in there, so we'll see what this sucker has to offer. Like I said, haven't had anything from these guys yet, so I'm kind of pumped to give them a whirl. So we'll see what's what. I am literally, this post is attached to an electric fence, so I might get electrocuted while doing a beer review. So it might happen. Hopefully it does. We'll see what's what. So what do we got going on here? I mean, she is pouring all the parts of what you'd expect from kind of a hazy, kind of mixed fermentation, kind of farmhouse ale. Rich golden in color. It's not super sunny out here. It's a little bit overcast, but you can see it's just kind of beaming with a yellow. Not yellow cake, George, but yellow. Let's see what this nose has. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much exactly what I thought it was going to be. You're getting a huge portion of like citrus vibes. I believe that's the Citra Pale Ale playing well with a bit of kind of Brett C vibes. A soft tartness to it. It seems like there's going to be a little bit of acidity kind of floating around in it, but nothing too crazy. But she smells like a funky mixed fermentation, open, wild fermented beer with heavy citrus notes, whether it's coming from a yeast component like Brett C, and also Citra is probably both playing together very nicely. And that's pretty much it. Not overly sweet, not overly bitter, but she smells pretty, man. Yeah, we're just gonna dive in this sucker. Cheers. Wow, way less tart and acidic than I thought it was going to be based off of the nose. This is by far and away one of the more gentle kind of open fermented. They were talking about a blend of open fermented Petite Galaxy and their Citra Hop Pale Ale. Both of them being open fermented. You usually don't get something this kind of neutral out of something like that. You usually do get a bit more tartness. Not necessarily a super sourness, but a bit more tartness. And this is really barely kind of dipping into that kind of farmhouse realm. It's more pale ale than it is a farmhouse beer, but you do get a soft, fun yeast vibe. You are getting that citrus you get on the nose. Not nearly as explosive, nearly as distinct, but it's definitely there. You are getting a soft, slightly bubblegummy banana vibe. Again, assuming that's coming from the yeast. There's a really nice soft mouthfeel to it, which has a nice kind of drying component on the one end. That's kind of making you want to kind of go back and have another sip. So it's a really tasty beer. I mean, as far as just base beverages go, it's pretty fucking good stuff. It's just really weird to see a beer kind of just touted as a blend of two open fermented beers be as soft, as neutral, and not as funky. It's kind of weird stuff, but they even talk about going on here. They have this little chart they kind of pop on here where it actually tells you where it lands, and I didn't see that until right now. It's a crisp and dry. That's definitely the portion of the show. They do have it down more in the sour scale and high up in the fruity scale. So, I mean, they're telling you exactly what you're going to get from the beer, and they're spot on with that. But, just knee-jerk, you're talking about, as they call it, a blended farmhouse ale for something in that realm to come off this neutral and this non-acidic, this non-tart is a bit of a setback, but it doesn't detract from the beer being a really delicious beer by any means. Super tasty. The citrus comes through both from a yeast component and the hop component. Nice soft drying on it. You do get that soft little bubblegum vibe that you can get a lot of kind of hazy IPAs, but I believe this is more of that kind of wit beer, kind of Belgian yeasty kind of bubblegum banana kind of ester you're getting in there. And it works quite well. Super drinkable, super tasty. Listen, it's 80 degrees out, slightly overcast, a nice breeze. I have a party to go to. This is exactly what I want to start the day off with. So it's hitting me on all the right places. I dig it. I think it's tasty. And you talk about a new brewery, kind of diving into a new brewery for the first time. This is about as good as you're going to get when you just kind of randomly grab something off the shelf. This is just a shelf beer that PA has. I went to a local kind of distributor. They had it. I kind of picked it up on a whim. Even though I've heard of these guys before, never had anything before. So to dive into it and get something this drinkable, because that's what it is. It's infinitely drinkable. It's almost in that kind of realm of when I talk about the those funky sour beers from, like, let's say like a Suarez, I've talked about it, or Hill Farms, where it's like got a neutral pH balance to where it kind of belongs, kind of matches your body's kind of pH balance. This is kind of erring that direction. So it's super crushable, super drinkable, tasty, everything you want, and kind of a chuggable beer. It's just, the double open fermentation thing kind of set my mind at a different place. So keep that in mind if you ever decide to pick it up. I don't know how their other stuff tracks. Were a couple different bottles I could have picked up from these guys. This is the only one they picked up. I'll pick up some more and see what's what. So yeah, let's talk about it. Is it one of the better farmhouse ales that I've had as of late? It's weird because it's one of the better just generic drinking beers that I've had as of late. But as farmhouse, it really doesn't get super farmhousey, for the lack of more an articulate explanation. So it's kind of weird because I still want to put it in that group, but it just doesn't belong in that group. But it's a tasty beverage, let's put it that way. Bagging availability, less than $9. For a green bottle, open fermented, double open fermented, hop forward. Well, the one beer was a hop forward kind of beer. That's a pretty decent price. Even if you're talking about a 375 milliliter, I have no problems with that. And leave you with, shelfie beer, by the way, and leave you with, if you like what we like this. If you think farmhouse open firm beers can be a little bit too acidic, be a little bit too aggressive, but you also want something a little bit more kind of yeast driven in that funky world than just a base pale, that's kind of where this one lives. It gives you a lot to grasp onto, both from a hop, a yeast component, and a malt component, which I didn't really even talk about because it has a soft graininess to it, is that it's going to appeal to a lot of different people. And like I said, it's a crusher. It's a drinker. It is a summer beer. So if you're looking for a high-end summer crusher, this is probably going to do you proper. So there you go. Live massive beer review in the books. Hopefully you guys are enjoying a beautiful deer. I don't know. Venison's delicious on this holiday weekend. And like I said, you'll probably see a couple more of these tonight. So stay tuned. We'll see what's what. We'll see what the day brings. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're drinking something delicious right now, and hope to see you next time. Cheers.